In earlier videos of topic number 4, that is types of tissue, we have discussed regarding meristematic tissue, uh, simple tissue as well as vascular tissue. Now we are going to discuss regarding fourth type of tissue, that is epidermal tissue. Outermost covering of plant organ is known as epidermis, and all types of components of epidermis such as epidermal cells, epidermal outgrowth, stomata, thickenings, cuticles, etc., togetherly known as epidermal tissue system. So epidermal cells are generally compactly arranged and are various shapes and sizes. Margins of epidermal cells are of various shapes such as straight, zigzag, undulated, thickened, etc. So the outer wall is generally thickened or covered with the cuticle. In roots it is thin. Commonly epidermis is single layered. In xerophytes like Opuntia or Nerium, the epidermis is multi-layered. So multiple epidermis of orchids, vanda, is known as velamen. In sugarcane, the epidermis is composed of small rectangular cork cells and silica cells with silica particles deposited on walls. Leaves of grass, wheat, bamboo possesses bulliform cells, that is motile cell in the epidermis. Some important components of epidermis that we are going to discuss, that is stomata, trichomes, glandular hairs or motile cells. These are some epidermal components that we are going to discuss in detail. So let's start with the first component of epidermal tissue system, that is stomata. See, generally epidermal tissues are nothing but the tissues or different kinds of cells present on the epidermis. So outermost layer of plant organ is epidermis, and on that outermost part or layer there are some outgrowths or some complexes or thickenings are found, and these are known as epidermal tissue system. You might have observed there is a spines on leaves, or you might have observed hairy structures on the leaves or stems. So for example, on xerophytic plant you might have observed the cuticle, powdery cuticle on the leaf of plants. So these are nothing but the epidermal systems. So first of all we will start with the first epidermal component of epidermal tissue system, that is stomata. So stomata, these are the natural pores or minute opening present on the epidermal layer of aerial parts of the plant. We have discussed this structure of stomata while we were studying the internal organization of leaf of monocot as well as dicot, which consists of the minute opening of pore on their lower as well as upper epidermis for the function of gaseous exchange or for the loss of water in the form of vapor, that is for transpiration. So these stomata present in the epidermal layer of aerial parts of plant, and they are more prominent or more in number in photosynthetic organs, particularly in the leaves. So stomata are complex of specifically modified epidermal cells that helps in the opening and closing of stomata. So let's discuss regarding the structure of typical stomata, which is shown here in the slide. Here the stomata is a minute opening present in the epidermal layer. Look at the center, there is a stoma, that is a pore. Each stoma or pore is surrounded by two semilunar cells called as guard cells. Look at the diagram. The white colored pore is surrounded with the green colored two semilunar or reniform cells known as guard cells, and in dicotyledon guard cells are of kidney shaped or reniform cells, while in monocotyledons they are dumbbell shaped. So guard cell possesses chloroplast with inner thin wall and outer thick wall. These cells can become turgid and flaccid after absorbing and losing the water respectively. When guard cells are in turgid state, stomata remain open, while when they are in flaccid state, stomata remain closed. So, thus these guard cells regulate the opening and closing of the stomata. Environmental factors like light and water are concerned with the movement of the guard cells. Generally, supporting epidermal cells present adjacent to the guard cells are known as subsidiary cells. Look at the diagram. There are some subsidiary cells which are present around these guard cells. So these cells are known as subsidiary cells, and the number of subsidiary cells and their arrangement varies. Hence, it is a criterion for classification of stomata. Subsidiary cells are identical to the other epidermal cells, and these are without chloroplast. So these cells give support to the guard cells and also provide water. The stomata opens internally into a cavity known as the respiratory cavity, and this cavity is a space lying in mesophyll tissues. It is connected with intercellular space, and respiratory cavity is a site for gaseous exchange between plant and atmosphere also. It is also a site for evaporation of water, that is transpiration. As we have discussed that stomata plays two important functions, that is gaseous exchange as well as transpiration. Thus, the stomatal complex is mainly composed of stoma, guard cells, subsidiary cells and respiratory cavity. In xerophytic plants, stoma are present in a sunken cavity, that is deeply placed stomata is found, and this cavity is known as stomatal chamber. And when the stomata present in stomatal chamber, that is deeply placed stomatal chamber, such stomata is called as a sunken stomata. Distribution and of stomata and number of stomata generally varies from plant to plant. So this is the detailed account of stomata, first element of epidermal tissue system. Now let's discuss regarding trichomes. You must have observed such type of outgrowths on the leaves, on the birds, on the calyx, that is hairy, whitish hairy structures. For example, if you observe ajwain plants leaves, you may found this type of hairy structures, or you may found on tomato plant in early stage on stem and leaves. So there are a hair like structure originated from the upper epidermis or from the epidermal region. These are known as the trichomes. So look at the diagram. There is layer showing a outgrowth from the epidermis, that is a trichomes. So these trichomes are hair like structure originate from the epidermis, and it has two regions, the basal part called as foot and the apical part called as a body. So the trichome may be unicellular or multicellular. Look at the diagram here. The basal part, that is the epidermal, which is embedded into the epidermal cell, is called as a foot, while the other part here, this one is called as a, this is called as the foot, while this is called as a body. And there are different types of these cells or trichomes. For example, trichomes may be unicellular or multicellular. Trichomes may occur on all parts of the plant, and they persist throughout the life of an organ, and they may be lost at some point during the life of the plant. So the unicellular trichome possesses lumen with protoplast or devoid of protoplast, that is dry hairs. Most of them are hygroscopic, hence they help in retention of water also. So unicellular hairs in root are absorptive in functions. Morphologically, unicellular hairs are categorized into following types. First of all, look at the diagram. It shows the different types of trichomes. Unicellular trichomes are categorized into unicellular and branched, unicellular and unbranched, or unicellular and branched. Secondly, there is another type of trichome, that is multicellular hairs. They may consist of single rows of cells known as uniseriate, for example, which is found in Lycopersicon, or multicellular hairs with more than one rows of cell is known as multiseriate, for example, Portulaca. Commonly, multicellular hair shows foot embedded in the epidermis and body projecting above the surface. Unicellular hairs forms a single bunch known as tuft hair. Look at here, this is the tuft hair. This is the tuft hair B. Now, some multicellular hair are branched, giving a tree-like appearance. For example, Mimosa species, that is a plantanus. That is, this is the diagram, shows a tree-like appearance. Look at here, this one. This is the multicellular. Sometimes they may form a scale-like structure. For example, which is found in Solanum plant. That is H diagram, shows scale-like structure. Common type of trichome observed in members of family Malvaceae are stellate hair. Stellate hair, that is G. This one, this is a stellate hair, which is generally star-shaped hair, which is found in hibiscus species. Sometimes unicellular hair group and forms a shield-like structure known as peltate scale or hair. Peltate scale or hair. Look at here. Peltate scale or hair. Stinging hair of Urtica dioica, or it has a broad base embedded with epidermal cells, and the body look like fine capillary tube with pointed end. That is this one. This is this type of trichome that is called as a stinging hair. Another type of trichome, or we can say special type of trichome, consists of stalk and unicellular multicellular head, is known as a glandular hair. Look at here, this is a glandular hair. This is the glandular hair. Or we can say this one and this one. They are the special type of trichomes which consist of stalk and head, and the head region is composed of glandular cells arranged singly or in a group, forming palisade-like layer, and they are secretory in functions. For example, we found it in osmium, or multicellular glandular hair is found in parts of the Nicotiana species. Glandular peltate hair is found in plant like Humulus, or glandular hair is characteristic of member of the family Labiatae or Urticaceae or Solanaceae, etc. Another type of epidermal component of epidermal tissue is a motor cell, or we call it as a bulliform cell. These are characteristic of member of family Gramineae, or we can call it as a Poaceae. The family which consists of grasses is called as a Poaceae. And so in this family, these are a group of wedge-shaped cells with unicellular horn-like hairs are found in the upper epidermis. Look at the here. This is the TS of monocot leaf, that is grass leaf, which shows there is a special type of cells or somewhat enlarged cells are present. These are called as bulliform cells. Here sometimes they consist of unicellular horn-like cells. For example, like this. At the edge, they are consist of such horn-like cells. So togetherly, this structure is called as a motor cells, and these cells are thin-walled, highly vacuolated, and occur in upper epidermis of leaf, or they are restricted to the grooves between the veins. The median cells are usually largest, and the cells are relatively small in size. Lateral cells are relatively small in size, as shown in this diagram. The middle cells are little bit large and other lateral cells are small. The radial walls are thin, but outer walls may be thicker than the adjacent epidermal cells. And the cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose and pectic substances. This bulliform cell possesses transverse bands of thickenings. These cells are hygroscopic, that is, they absorb water and they retain water and hence hold more water and remain turgid, and they are without chlorophyll. And because they consist of because these motor cells or bulliform cells are hygroscopic in nature, on absorption of water these cells enlarge and causes unrolling of leaf, while when the water is lost they contract and causes rolling of the leaf blade, and hence they are called as, or they are named as, a motor cells. So the function of motor cell is rolling or unrolling of the leaf, or the sudden and rapid expansion of these cells causes unfolding of the young leaf lamella. So this is all about epidermal tissue system, which constitute of different elements like stomata, trichomes, glandular hairs or motor cells, etc. So let's see what are the functions of epidermal tissues or epidermal tissue system. Epidermis is the outermost covering of plant organs, hence it provides protection to the organs, internal organs. It is the limiting layer of an organ, hence it decides the size and shape of an organ. Epidermal, like humans, the skin is the outermost layer. It decides the size and shape of organs of humans, or that likewise in epidermis is the limiting layer of a plant body, which decides the size and shape of an organ or plant body. Epidermal structures such as stomata are the means of gaseous exchange and further transpirations. It prevents excessive loss of water by developing thick cuticle, waxy layer and hairs. Multiple epidermis act as a storehouse of water in many xerophytic plants, for example Opuntia. Epidermal outgrowths such as glandular hair attract insect for pollination. The sticky substance present on them help in dispersal of seeds and fruits also. Epidermal tissue system of root possesses many unicellular root hairs which helps in absorption of water and minerals. So these are the basic functions of epidermal tissue system. And here we done with our topic number 4, that is types of tissue. And overall we have discussed regarding 4 types of tissue, that is meristematic tissue, permanent tissue, complex tissue and epidermal tissue. So thank you so much.